Other news, Vladimir Putin has addressed the G20 today for the first time since the invasion of Ukraine. He described the conflict as a tragedy and said Moscow has never refused to participate in peace talks with Kyiv.
We must think about how to stop this tragedy. Russia has never refused peace talks with Ukraine. It is not Russia but Ukraine that has publicly announced it's withdrawing from the negotiation process. Moreover, a decree was signed prohibiting such negotiations with Russia.
Listening to that with me, Douglas Herbert, our foreign affairs commentator. And Doug, I'm interested in what you made of Putin's language there. He's alluding to peace talks. He talks of Ukraine being a tragedy. Do you think we can take his word when he talks like that?
Well, Ukraine doesn't. This has become a recurrent refrain, almost a motif with Vladimir Putin, almost since the outset of the Russian invasion and occupation of Ukraine, which has been that at any given time, Russia is always ready to seek peace if only big bad Ukraine and its Western backers would do so as well. And the response, time and again, from Kiev has been the same. It simply is not true. They say that the terms upon which, when Putin refers to peace talks, the peace talks that he has in mind, his vision and his version of peace talks, have no bearing on the reality of any type of peace talks Ukraine could ever in a million years envision entering. What Zelensky has been very clear about is if you want real peace talks, he's laid out his conditions. He laid out a 10-point peace plan back in November 2022, already almost a year into the war. And he basically said Ukraine needs to regain sovereignty over the lands that were invaded. There needs to be prosecution for war crimes, for those responsible for war crimes, and that there should be compensation to Ukraine for the destruction, the devastation, the damage caused by Russia's invasion. And those are just three of the main points, but all about sovereignty, regaining sovereignty and territory. For Ukraine, and Zelensky, it's been very clear. The answer to this question, when Putin says we're ready for peace talks, Zelensky's always said, and he's been very consistent, you want peace talks? Great. Here's the condition. Return our sovereignty, return our territory, and then we can start and sit down and have serious peace talks. As it is, there's no trust. They don't trust Putin as far as they can throw him. As the foreign minister, former foreign, Dmytro Kuleba had said, Putin, and this was his quote, Putin is a habitual liar who promised international leaders just days before the Russian invasion of Ukraine in February 2022 that he would not attack Ukraine. And Russia even had mock alarm over the Western alarm, mocked the West for its alarm that there might be an invasion coming days before the invasion happened. Russia denied it up until the day of.
And the timing of this is arguably interesting as well, Doug, isn't it? Explain to us a bit about why.
Well, Putin's nothing if not, he's very shrewd, he's a very savvy political calculator. He knows how to sort of feel the political winds and seize the moment, so to speak, in a cynical way, I would perhaps posit. Why? Because right now the moment is clearly at a time where Putin senses, and he said this explicitly, he and his spokespeople, that there is war fatigue that's going to spread in the West. It's already, as they see it, setting in. Europe's losing interest in Ukraine as Russia sees it. It's just a matter of time. And the counteroffensive, the Ukrainian counteroffensive, is slow going, plotting, nothing much happening from Russia's view on the ground. Putin has a little bit of strut in his step. He sees himself now, he could put himself out there internationally, and he has the global South behind him as the peacemaker and cast Ukraine in the role of the villain that doesn't want to talk peace. Ukraine just wants to perpetuate war.
All right, Douglas Herbert, as always, thanks for your analysis.